What's up, guys? Today I'm gonna actually be making another sheath for a folding knife. As you can see right there, it's a SOG Fusion Salute, I think, model FF10. It's not actually a knife for me. It's actually a knife for one of my coworkers. It's his second one because what happened was he bought one on my recommendation. You know, it's kind of what he wanted in a folding knife, not particularly my favorite in terms of design or even the steel, but it's what he wanted, and he actually lost. Oops, he actually lost it in, I think, a week of owning it, because he was like moving something and he took it out to cut something and just set it down, and you know, when he went back to where he set it down, it was gone. It's not a expensive knife. Yeah, I didn't really get a lot of time to play around with it. I think it's like $26, $30, but you know, for what it is, it's not bad. Honestly, for the money, I would probably get a Spyderco Tenacious over that instead, but you know, to each his own. But what I decided to do was to make a Kydex sheath for him to put on his belt, because he told me that he doesn't really like to have things in his pockets, which, I mean, I guess I can understand. I'm not exactly the same way because my pockets are loaded down, but you know, he doesn't like to have things in his pockets, and I figure I'll make him a Kydex sheath. And I actually got him into molding Kydex himself. It's just he doesn't really have the capabilities of making knife sheaths yet. What he used the Kydex that I gave him for was to make a tablet mount to tie down to the headrest of his car so his kids could, you know, watch shows on the tablet while they were in the car. He also made a pretty decent phone clip for his belt. But, you know, I'm going to make him a sheath. This will basically be the second sheath I make for a folding knife. My first and only one so far being the one I made for the paramilitary. And, you know, this was an absolute fiasco in my opinion. I mean, it works, but it's big and it's bulky. You can see, like, the rivets are here and the knife is only this much. I can do better than this, in my opinion. With this sheath, especially with the retention, I have to use the large tech lock just to kind of span a larger width of the belt so that it doesn't really pull towards one side of the belt. Obviously, I can't expect this. I can't expect him to be using a tech lock on the sheath that I'm gonna make for him, because you know, sometimes he'll wear you know, shorts with, you know, elastic instead of a belt, and you won't be able to use a tech lock with it. I'm gonna be making some Kydex belt clips out of the 0.125 inch thick Kydex for him. Probably not as wide as the one I made for you know, in previous videos, but something similar. And that way, even if he's wearing shorts with elastic, he can always just clip that over the waistband instead of onto a belt. The thing is, because of that, I don't want it to be too heavy. As you can see here, I got some 0.0, well, you can't really see, but I got some, it's pretty flexible, I guess you can see that. I got a bunch of sheets, square foot sheets of 0.06 inch Kydex, and I'm going to be using this. I'm going to be doing a fold over taco style sheath. I'm not really sure I'm going to fold it over like this way, because, you know, this rivet really adds a good ½ inch to the width of the sheath. I have enough material here to make 2 or 3. I actually ordered 2 of these knives. They asked me to order it for free shipping and whatnot. I ordered 2 because another one of our coworkers saw the knife and he really liked it. And you know, I told him that I was gonna make a belt sheath to surprise, you know, the first coworker. And he asked me, like, if I could make one for him as well, and I said sure, why not? You know, if I'm doing it, I'm gonna have everything set up. Molding it and the cutting shouldn't really take all that long. You know, I've gotten the sanding and cutting down pretty quick now, especially with the Dremel. So yeah, I will, in the next part, I guess I'll show you guys how it kind of turned out, and hopefully it turns out well. Yeah, so see you guys in the next part. Alright guys, I'm back. I finished molding the 2 sheaths. Man, like, I really like the definition that came out on this one. You can actually, like, really see the ridges in the G10 of the knife. This one came out okay. You see that the definition isn't quite as there. No, that's not the camera, just blurry on the left half. I think what happened with this one is I just didn't get the Kydex into the mold quick enough, Whereas with this one, I got it in the right way, got it positioned properly. The top edge on this one lines up real nicely. This one, there's a little bit offset, you know, not a big deal. The only bad thing about this retention, and it's particular with this knife, is that if you take a look, it actually has a thumb stud that you can adjust. So I don't know how my coworkers are gonna adjust their thumb studs. You know, where these dents are for the thumb stud is where the knife came with, but they might adjust them. So I'm going to have to heat gun these dents, these detents out, and let them like widen up completely after I rivet the sides, just so it doesn't snag on the thumb stud and it fits properly, even if they adjust the thumb studs to the left or the right. But yeah, I decided to go ahead with this. At first I was just kind of going to fold it over like this way, but then I realized that the knife is kind of way too heavy for that, and it wouldn't really retain well, and I would basically have to put rivets on both sides of the knife. So I went ahead with the regular fold over. Because this knife isn't as wide as the paramilitary, this sheath shouldn't be too wide as well, and I'm going to try and get the rivets as close to where the blades are as possible. I think that if I can get this detent out and maybe take out this part, and maybe it's a little easier to see on this one, I'll take out the detent from the thumb stud as well as this part of the handle. If I take those out completely, then I should have really good retention. I'll heat gun back down here, and this will be my friction point here, and that'll hold the knife in really well. And then I could get the rivets in as close as possible without having to rely on them to keep the knife in. I also went ahead and made another sheath for the A.G. Russell Woodswalker. This time I made it much slimmer. Last time I did it, I used 0.08 inch Kydex, and I also made it really wide, and I put rivets on the side, so it made it a really bulky sheath. This time it turned out pretty well. I used the 0.06 inch Kydex like with these two, and what I'm gonna do is just drill 2 holes on top here, and this will be a neck sheath. So I'll run paracord off of here, and then the retention right now isn't too bad. It is kind of on the loose side, but I can actually heat up, and like in my retention video, I'll heat up this section, pinch it in, and it'll retain much better. And because the 0.06 inch Kydex defines much better than the thicker stuff, it'll have pretty good retention without me having to close up the sides. I'm not really sure how safe it is for me to leave it open on one side, but I feel that because I have so much of the handle inside the sheath itself, the knife shouldn't really rotate inside the sheath, so I don't think it'll be an issue. But I'll definitely be testing out how well the knife retains in the sheath without poking out before I wear it around my neck for an extended period anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and rivet these, do any final cuts that I might have to do, and I'll get back to you guys with the finished product so you can check it out and see how things went. With these 2 sheets, I also went ahead with a flat back. Oops. Oh, great. I went ahead with a flat back. They're both righties, so the way this sheath is made, it's made so that the blade carries tip up, blade opens out towards the back, and this fits on the right side. I did this just because in order to make my own belt loops, if I had tried molding both sides in a regular sandwich, then the definition on the Kydex would just be way too thick for me to actually easily get one of my homemade belt loops on. Tech lock isn't as big of an issue, especially with the paramilitary, because the paramilitary is much flatter than this knife is. So I went ahead with the one-sided. It's good because then I don't really have to worry about anything snagging on this side. The thumb stud is, it's not so sticking out so much that it goes beyond the flats of the handle, so it actually works out in this case. If the thumb stud had actually protruded beyond the G10 handles, then I would also probably have to loosen up the flat end as well to allow room for the thumb stud to pass. But because it doesn't, then all the retention points should just be over here and nothing on the back.